Growing up in Saint Vincent, we heard tales and stories, almost mythology, around La Soufriere volcano eruptions. There was one in 1902, more recently one in 1979. And anyone who lived through that period would talk about it, the evacuations, the ash. The late great Sheikh Keen, one of my heroes, musician and poet, he recited this amazing poem about the eruption. And towards the end he said, you know, lately my Empire cigarettes have been tasting of sulfur, you know, and he took a puff and gazed off into the distance. So I grew up around, you know, these stories. So that was the backdrop to when she blew. You know, that fateful day in April when I heard about it. You know, I was scared for those that were here on the island. I was in Switzerland. I wanted to help out. I wanted to protect my family. And it was a complete emotional roller coaster the whole time.
I was in Barbados the day before the eruption, and I was flying back, and I was reading all these news stories that, you know, it was about to erupt, but my mum was here, so I said, let's fly back. And it was at the same time as quarantine, and I had to do 14 days quarantine on Young Island, where I am right now. And in the morning, I was on a Zoom call. I was writing with a guy called Shifky and another producer, and out of nowhere I heard the rumbles, and I felt it. And I was on the Zoom with the guys. I was like, guys, I think the volcano just erupted. And then as soon as I said that, it went, ksh. You could just feel the stillness in the air. There were no dogs barking, which is a typical Vincy thing. No dogs barking, all the animals went silent. And I looked outside and there was this huge plume of ash, and I just remember thinking, oh no, this is serious. It was a really scary thing, because I couldn't get hold of my mother, I couldn't get hold of my family. I was stuck in this room and I just saw this plume of ash going high and high up to the heavens. And yeah, it was a very, very scary time.
Well, the night around, from all around 10 o'clock, that is when we get the real blast and scared people. That is the time I frighten, because I find the house start to shake. The kind of blast I hear and the kind of ash we dropping on the roof, like when you get heavy shower rain. The Sunday morning, when I peep out, I see this house with that pole in. That's the first one I see, the roof dropping. Then they have a next one below me there. When I look, I see that dropping. I say, boy, this thing's serious, because I did hear in my rafter them crying, you know, from the weight of the ash on it. I decided to go in on the house roof to take off the ash off the roof. So I call a guy who had to call my uncle who was here. So I tell him, come and help me. So me and he went up on the roof with two hoe and a shovel, and we was pulling the ash on them and drop them.
So shortly before the warnings were issued, I actually climbed the volcano, which is something I do every time I come home. It's one of my favorite hikes. It was a crystal clear day. You could see the windward side, the leeward side. It was a little warmer than usual. The smell of sulfur maybe a little stronger than I'm used to. But I didn't think anything of it. Climbed back down the volcano, uploaded the photos, and the next day I woke up to hundreds of messages, and one of the pictures had gone viral. And basically what those with a keen eye had spotted and forwarded on to volcanologists was a very, very small dome inside the crater of the volcano that later became part of the effusive eruption.
I heard this song. It's just so a puff. Then somebody's suffering. I was so scared, but I didn't want to show it out because I have to be strong. But inside my mind, I was so scared, but I cannot show my family that I'm scared.
The volcano kept erupting constantly. It wasn't like, oh, it erupted now and it's an explosion now. It was explosion every second.
I woke up to a phone call from Marlon, another Vincentian musician, absolute legend from here. And he was like, yo bro, we got to do something about this. And I said, yeah, absolutely, like what can we do? And you know, within 20 minutes, Marlon had set up the GoFundMe, we'd start posting, we were jumping off straight as soon as we knew we could do something.
Hey guys, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's donated so far to the GoFundMe that Marlon and I set up.
You know, I got out and the first thing I went was straight into action.
Typically, a day for us was like, I would get up by 6, and by 7:38, I'm already on the road, and I don't get home until about 10 o'clock in the night. You know, so just, you're always on the go, and you're just trying to reach every possible person, every possible shelter. You know, I just saw one Saint Vincent. You know, it's one country, and people needed help. They reached out, and I helped. You know, I didn't care your background. I didn't care your financial status. You know, it was just people needed help, and I helped, and so did others.
One of the things that this experience has taught us is that, you know, Saint Vincent has a lot of support out there. You know, not just from the diaspora and Vincentians living abroad, but from people that have visited, from people that are fans and supporters of our sportsmen and women, and also of our musical artists. And you know, it was amazing to see the love that came flooding in, and you know, we were quickly able to put those funds to good use and get the supplies where they were needed. So fast forward a year, we're climbing back up the volcano, totally different experience. Still loads of ash all the way up, vegetation, you know, struggling to bounce back. And about 3/4 of the way up, the climb gets really, really difficult. Massive rocks and boulders that have come down. You're sort of hiking through these deep ravines. And when I finally got to the top, got to the rim, it was emotional, you know, because I'd got to see it just before it erupted, and to go back and see the difference, it was, you know, it was terrifying and also beautiful at the same time. You know, Mother Nature's power and force in close proximity. The list of people to thank is far too long. You know, there was a massive collective group effort from volunteers, people on the ground, people overseas, people donating. So I just want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you.